time to get real. I want to see some crazy Wiz Biz.
What's the magnet made out of, ding dong?
I want to see some of that Wiz Biz.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable! Mathematical!
You can't like that.
Bacon pancake!
Welcome back to Wiz Biz with Alexx and Erik. I am not Alex. I am Erik, and Alex is also here. Say hi, Alex.
Hi, I am Erik, but also Alex in some kind of Cronenbergian nightmare.
It's disgusting. You don't want to. Anyhow,
We're smushed together like the regents of Lumpy space.
Yes. Coincidentally, this podcast is about Adventure Time, kind of. And this episode, where we decided, in between episode 1 and episode 2, we were like, what if we do 2 Adventure Time episodes per podcast episode? So we're doing that. This is going to cover Adventure Time Season 1, episodes 2 and 3. Episode 2 is Lumpy Space, and 3 is
Prisoners of Love.
Prisoners of Love, yes. One of the fun things about these early episodes, Alex,
Correct.
is...
I'm Alex, you're Erik.
is that they kind of like, you get your first introduction to all these characters. The Lumpy Space episode is our introduction to, second most obnoxious Adventure Time character, but also one
Who's
of the...
first?
Oh, Lemon Grab. The whole family of lemons.
Oh, yeah, good
Those
point.
guys are...
Yeah, well made. I got no argument. I wanted to argue, can't. Yeah.
But Lumpy Space Princess and her whole existence in Lumpy Space, and it turns out that she's also contagious, which never, ever, ever comes up ever again for the rest of Adventure Time.
Yes, apparently it works by werewolf rules.
Yes.
Which I found that explanation amusing.
Yeah.
So, Erik, on this show, we have segments at times, and we're not doing one right now, but
Okay.
one of my segments is I'm a word nerd, and I've got, hey, look at this shiny rock I found, which is going to frequently be words I've run into.
Uh-huh.
But I want to tell you about werewolf, because there's a word related to werewolf I like.
Okay, I have some werewolf stories.
So werewolf is from Old English ver, meaning man, so man-wolf. But related to that is a phrase that I found in the last few years that I love, and apparently it's been used a million times and I just never heard it, is weregeld.
Oh.
Do you know weregeld?
You mean man money?
Man money.
I mean, I know about Danegeld.
That's Danish money.
Yes, but I think I've heard of Weregeld.
Yeah, so weregeld is, it might be weregeld.
Weregeld.
Sorry,
Let's say Weregeld.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
German's coming in.
If it's German, then it's Weregeld.
I don't know if it's German though.
Well,
I think it might be the other side of Old English.
Old English.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is.
Oh, it is because where comes from vir, which is Latin for man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the money given to someone killed. Almost like insurance before insurance. It's the Americans. So literally man money.
Right.
And for some reason I find that so, it's bleak, but it's so charming that it's literally just man money. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's funny because in some of the Norse sagas, sometimes they won't call it Weregeld because they weren't speaking Old English, but it happens a lot where you murder somebody and you're like, oh, sorry, here's, $1,000. I mean, Viking bucks. Here's 1,000 Viking bucks. Sorry, I killed your cousin or whatever. But you would basically buy your way out of crimes.
Yes. Much like the modern world with rich white people, except we don't, it's not directly stated as such.
Right. We don't, we sort of pretend that that's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you have to go and, go to court and defend yourself.
And you might get a fine.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Poor people, if they can't pay the fine, they get to go to jail.
Yeah. So, werewolf rules.
Yeah, werewolf rules.
Anytime I hear were, I get distracted by that.
And it's funny because in a much later episode, I don't remember which season it's in, there's the hug wolf, which also operates by werewolf rules, only with hugs instead of bites.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shape changing in the kingdom of Oo.
Yeah, and there's a thing so Lumpy Space Princess, I think that there's definitely an aspect of her that is an homage to the Valley Girl archetype.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in Lumpy Space. I love the portal to Lumpy Space is
it's a frog on a mushroom.
Yeah. That which is great, but I
guess it's just a toad on a toadstool. That's probably what the joke is, and I just got it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the joke was that it was just ridiculous and tiny and weird.
Oh yeah, but it's with this show, there's usually like a secondary,
True.
level happening. Also, licking a toad, eating mushrooms, and then going into some kind of hyperspace next reality. There's that level happening.
Oh yeah, I guess we've all visited Lumpy Space in that case.
Yeah. Exactly.
But there are a couple things in this episode that are that I like. First of all is the reference to the Valley Girl thing, and also the fact that like Lumpy Space has cars and
yeah, it's funny.
It's kind of it's like 1950s technology. They didn't have the mushroom war that destroyed everything and left everything a post-apocalyptic wasteland. But then also Finn has to deal with anti-lump bigotry a little bit.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of an interesting thing you see. So Jake gets bitten by Lumpy Space Princess, and they have to get him to this magic orb in Lumpy Space to cure him before the sun goes down. And there's a point where Jake is like, Finn, if we don't save me in time. And Jake's like, you want me to kill you? And Jake's like, no, what the hell are you even fucking talking about? No, I don't want you to kill me. Like, just make sure I'm happy.
I want you to learn to accept my lumpy
yeah,
self.
like,
it's really
geez.
funny. Yeah. I do love the thing that made me laugh about this episode. And I'm not a Lumpy Space Princess fan. I've been on the record about this many times. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, I may have said it once on my old podcast. The point is, this was one of the more charming ones, only because I really laughed at smooth posers.
Yeah.
And in Lumpy Space, there's people that pretend to be smooth. There's something very pleasing about that idea.
And they sit on the cure. So the cure is this glowing orb that when you sit on it, it makes you smooth instead of lumpy.
I wonder if it's the orb from all the memes. That wizard with the orb that all the memes are around? This is like the first instance of it.
That's something to ponder.
This is like Saul in Breaking Bad, and that's better.
So Lumpy Space Princess goes on to be a really pivotal recurring character throughout the series. I'm not a big fan of her either, but Lumpy Space Princess being annoying does not ruin the show, thankfully.
Oh, no, she's not nearly that annoying, but a lot of people find that level of irritation funny, and it's just not the kind of humor I'm into. I mean, this show is, we should say, it's for kids, and I think kids like annoying stuff.
Is it for kids?
Well, it's ostensibly for kids, I guess we should say.
It pretends to be for kids.
Yeah, and kids can watch it without being traumatized. Mm-hmm. But I think that kind of I'm so annoying thing goes over real well with children.
How did you first hear about Adventure Time?
People kept referencing it because Pendleton Ward people were just talking about how psychedelic he was, and I think he had shown up on Joe Rogan maybe. Now keep in mind, that means a lot. That means something very different than it did 10 years ago. Joe Rogan back then was a harmless stoner guy that just had psychedelic weirdos on the show. Oh yeah,
that was before he turned into some sort of like alt-right pseudoscience douchebag.
Probably was, but the show was, it was cool. Like it talked to a lot of people about stuff that I've been into for a while. So people that like that show would report back to me. And I don't know if it came directly through there. Duncan Trussell ended up being on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if it came through. But anyway, I'd been hearing about it. I'm like, I don't want to watch some fucking cartoon. And few seasons in, somebody maybe watched some episode that dealt with I don't know if it was about because in the mythology of Adventure Time, there is a comet, this cataclysm comet that comes and just resets the world periodically. And the Great Mushroom War was one of those. And I don't remember if it was that episode, but it was something that was related to like kind of the Yuga cycle, the Hindu idea of the world kind of going in cycles and repeating itself. And that was what I was really into back then. So I was like, fine, I'll watch the fucking show. And then I was in such I was in a really bad depression at the moment. And it hit on such like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. Like, thank you, universe. Like I get it. Thank you. This is delightful. And I really just binged the shit out of it. And I caught up. How many seasons do you think there are?
I think there are 6 altogether, including, maybe there are more. Are there 8?
Yeah, I caught up in probably like season 4-ish.
Well, I remember we talked about it right around the time that the last season was happening.
Yeah, or maybe earlier than that. But anyway, it was because of the psychedelic, weird, religious overtone stuff of the show, and people going, "Ooh, that sounds like stuff Alex likes," and recommending it to me. What is your origin story?
My origin story is I was at the Safari Club And
Is that like some kind of swinger kind of thing?
no, it's a strip club. It was a strip club. It's
oh.
gone now.
Oh, that's funny.
It used to be right next to Hopworks.
Yeah, it was on Powell.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I remember it.
Yeah, so it's right around the corner from my house. I went there a lot, and sometimes I was sort of doing the Richard Feynman. You know, I'd go there to write. I'd like sit in the corner and write. And other times I went there for the same reason that people usually go to strip clubs.
Yeah, more like Richard Feynman woman.
Yeah. And a stripper told me about it. I think, if I remember correctly, I think her stage name was Salem. I don't remember. There were a lot of them. But, yeah, we were just hanging out at the bar, probably drinking gin and tonics, and I was talking about cartoons, and she was like, have you heard of Adventure Time? And I was like, what?
That's awesome.
And so, I wrote the name down in my little black book, and I went home, and I looked up Adventure Time, and I was hooked.
Yeah. One of the things that is weird about this show, and is going to be weird about this show, and it happens on my other show, John and Alex Hate Stuff, available wherever you find podcasts, is I just told a story about, or at least referenced how I got into Adventure Time. It's not unlikely that there's an episode of the Alexx Cast when I first got into the show that describes it more accurately and likely in complete contradiction to what I just said.
There'll be a link in the show notes.
Well, no, I don't remember. I have no concept of it. But I mean, that's the thing with memory is, the more you access it, the less accurate it is. It's the way human memory works. And it's not like it's something that I like filed away as I found, but it's interesting that in answering these things, in the back of my head, like there's very likely audio evidence out there that, maybe a few people out there remember.
Isn't how it went.
Yeah. But my memory of it right now is, I feel like not as a kind of, excuse, but I feel like putting that out there because frequently people will call me, not frequently, but, more than 5 times people have called, brought me to task about something I said years ago on the show. Like 1, don't remember. 2, very different person than I was back there. 3, I don't know about 3. Just leave me alone. It was years ago.
Hey, so, following up on your werewolf segment, I have a word that I would like to talk about a little bit. It's not very shiny anymore, I'm afraid. But the word petrichor.
Petrichor, that was on my list.
Well, okay, then we'll save this for another episode. But
No, I mean, it's on my list. I'm never going to talk about it, so let's bring it up.
Okay. So here's the
You're a Whovian. That's why I didn't want to bring it up, because it's in an episode of Doctor Who.
Well, it's in a lot of stuff now.
But I mean, it was very, very attention given, including the definition in an episode of Doctor Who.
I feel like every time it happens on TV, they always give the definition. I was watching an episode of like some crime detective show, and one of them brought up petrichor, and of course they defined it and talked about what it is.
Interestingly, what did you have to say about petrichor?
Well, I was just thinking about how it felt like 10 years ago, petrichor was such an unusual, rare word that described such a beautiful thing. And people have been talking about it so much that, like, if you go on Twitter, I challenge you, dear listener, go on Twitter right now and do a search for what is your favorite smell. And you'll come across Twitter threads where, like, half the answers to this are petrichor.
Exactly.
Everybody knows the word now.
Well, it's memes. I mean, and memes in the Richard Dawkins way, not in the online way of, these words becoming popular. I would say, like, within 6 months, every single person in the world heard about Schadenfreude when no one ever said that again. Before that, it just showed up one day, and it became super popular and part of the culture. So here's the thing about petrichor: the etymology of it is interesting, especially for us, us being like kind of wizardy magic types. Petra meaning rock.
And ichor meaning blood.
But ichor is the blood of gods.
Oh.
Is that it is such a perfect smell coming from the rocks that it's literally like the god juice.
God juice.
Yeah, I mean, and if there's any like real lexiconographers out there or whatever the hell you call yourselves, shut up. I know that wasn't exactly right, but it's close enough.
Aren't they entomologists?
No, but
that's the study of bugs.
Well, etymologist is
etymologists
are
word
there's
people.
lexicographers. I just can't pronounce that word very well.
Lexicographers?
Yeah.
Do lexicographers and etymologists fight? Do they have wars? That's what I want to know. So if you're out there, I would love to take part in the great lexicography etymology war.
In a hideous twist of irony, they only use sticks and stones in the war.
God. Oh God. You're gonna get. Do they have? Is there a podcast award that's not a... There must be. I'm almost certain. You're going to get a podcast award for that one.
The Webbies.
Well, do the Webbies have a podcast category? Okay.
That's the only reason I've ever heard about it, so I assume it's... Yeah. There's also... there used to be another one that I can't remember the name of. Anyway, in the episode, though, here's a question for you. And this is a deep cut for John Alex Hate Stuff fans. I don't know what this is. But how do you think the lumpy space people mate?
God, that is a really good question. They are all so annoying that I cannot imagine. Oh, I know. Oh, God.
Because
Well, I'm just thinking about, like, Lumpy Space Princess's parents are, like, smooshed together.
they're smooshed together, exactly.
It's gross. So I guess okay, I have a theory. When one lump and another lump really, really like each other, they do this special kind of hug where they kind of ooze together.
That's
And
what I was going to say.
Then, so they merge their, their lumpy DNA and bud. So it's some sort of merging asexual. I guess it's not asexual, but it does involve a really uncomfortable oozing together of two lumps.
So I was going somewhere like that, but I thought it was more like cloacal rubbing, but one kind of gets subsumed by the other, and that's how they ended up that way.
Well, that sounds pretty gross too.
Like basically they're rubbing their cloaca together, and then the one gets kind of sucked into the other, and then the budding and et cetera.
Yeah, I'd say they both. Those are both good theories.
Yeah.
I'm okay not knowing the answer to this question though, because
I think they need a whole spin-off. Just a whole, like one of the HBO Max, like one-off ones, you know, like, Adventures of BMO, and this is Lumpy Space Princess rubs cloaca with Lumpy Space Prince.
Did you ever see the series where Isabella Rossellini dresses up as, it does the sex lives of insects?
No.
Oh my God, it's hot.
Talk about entomology. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coming
Yeah,
back.
this is entomology for sure, but she has this whole video series. I'm sure it's on YouTube or something like that. Cause they're all sort of like short 5-minute films, I think. Where she'll dress up as various species of insect and act out their sex lives.
Huh. I mean, I'm debating whether or not I could jerk off to that.
Well, I suppose you've got homework.
Yeah. I mean, I've already cloacal joining. I mean, it's done and dusted. John Alex Hate Stuff, I, for some reason, get it in my head every night. I used to do it on the Alex too, where I'd just get a word and just try to shoehorn it into things. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I just started saying cloaca in like every episode.
I like to pronounce it cloaca.
You could be right. I
think it's one of those words that's been adopted by English and the vowels have been kicked in the nards.
I think you mean nerds. Do we have anything else to say about the Lumpy Space episode?
Well, I think, if you're watching Adventure Time for the first time, one thing that I think is useful in the early episodes is to find things to kind of like pay attention to throughout the series. And, Brad, who is Lumpy Space Princess's like estranged boyfriend.
Yes.
Like he, I don't know that he ever shows up again, but he is referenced over and over and over again throughout the series. So you do see Brad this one time. It's interesting, there's an implied kind of like, size dimorphism between lumps. When you see, Lumpy Space Princess's parents, her dad is huge and her mom is little. And then Lumpy Space Princess is big and Brad is little. And I'm wondering if that dimorphism is, critical for, sexual compatibility between lumps. Why am I still thinking about this? I don't want to...
Because we need some sexiness in this show.
This is the opposite of sexy. These things are...
You're saying, wait, cartoon space princess lumps pushing their cloaca together isn't sexy?
Can we go back to the werewolves?
All right, I guess, werewolves have external genitalia, so I can go into detail about that. All right, so when one werewolf loves another werewolf, he takes his lipstick out. But there's the question. Do werewolves have lipsticks or human...
Yeah, like if a human is wearing lipstick and turns into a werewolf, is the lipstick still on them?
Oh boy, you took that in a much more wholesome way, and I appreciate that. I was referring to lipstick as dog penis, as they're frequently called.
Oh,
lipstick.
God.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Because it's funny. All right, so let's do a segment.
Okay. What segment are we doing next?
I was thinking maybe let's open this stupid thing because I don't think it'll go anywhere.
This segment is called What Came in the Mail.
What came in the mail?
Yes. So would you like to go first?
Yeah.
I'll describe this first.
So-
what I'm looking at now is a regional rate priority mailbox that is probably 12 by 9 by 4 inches. I don't know what the standard sizes are, and I don't have. But anyhow, it looks like it's traveled a little ways, maybe across the whole country. Where was it mailed from?
Well, we're going to find out right now. It was mailed from Bedford, Ohio.
Bedford, Ohio. Oh,
OH is Ohio, right?
Yeah. Bedford, Ohio. Isn't that where the world's largest ball of twine is?
So here's the thing about that, is there's a Weird Al song called The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota, and that's the only big ball of twine that I recognize.
Yeah,
around these parts.
I was just making that up.
So here's what happened with this box here.
Mm-hmm.
I have, and I'm not going to go into too detail because it's depressing, and I don't think we want to do that right now.
You talk about depressing stuff all the time.
No, but it's like actual depression.
Oh, okay.
I completely lost all spiritual connection. Like it's like my fucking soul was severed a few years ago.
Was it a ninja attack? Did your chi get blocked?
I don't know. It just fucking, look, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
I'm not. So anyway, I've been over the years trying to get back into that. I'm feeling better mentally, physically. So I'm like, all right, this is my time. So I'm trying to do that thing of, manifesting synchronicity, manifesting the feeling of you're connected to the universe, that people are talking to you right now. And I was following this line of logic of, I had ordered this love attraction oil years ago, or maybe somebody bought it for me. Anyway, I have it in my room. And it occurred to me that I need to use that again. And using that, I'm like, oh shit, this website, I haven't even thought about this place in forever. So I went on the website. It offered a free gift if you ordered a certain amount. And I just went, oh, I'm doing it. Like, I'm following this weird trend that inexplicably I felt a little spiritual tonight, followed some weird oil thing, following the math. So I ordered a bunch of stuff. So.
Oh, you got some sticks.
I got some sticks.
Are they smelly sticks?
No. I mean, they just kind of smell like wood. I don't know what those are for. I definitely didn't order them, but they came with it.
Are you going to be making your own incense?
Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? I may have bought a diffusing oil. And those are diffusion sticks.
Oh, right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So the first thing out of the box is a banishing powder.
Ooh.
Which I guess is for banishing
the bad stuff.
Yeah. This is handmade on 6/12/22.
Nice.
So yeah, they made this fresh for me.
6/12/22 hasn't happened. Oh no, it did just happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You'll notice that we're in 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about etymology. I'm doing dad jokes today, and I kind of like it. Next up.
Ooh, that looks like it must be some kind of oil.
Yeah, I got some more here. Why don't you open?
Okay,
you open some stuff while I'm working on this because these are very well. Oh, by the way, I ordered these from Art of the Root.
Hey, Alex, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Well, they both are actually. I don't know why you have to be, try to separate everybody, but very well wrapped. Art of the Root.
Oh yeah, this stuff. It's not going to break in the mail. That's for sure. This is
very well done. And their products look very professional. This is banishing oil to go with the banishing dust. Oh, so now I'm remembering my thinking of this. And by the way, quite high, pretty drunk when this happened. I was thinking the whole, like, when you were talking about, like, ninja attacks, cutting your chi. Somebody at one point had told me that that's a thing that you can think about, is that if you have, like, negative spirits attaching to you, they're kind of blocking your ability to experience the kind of spiritual side of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was my thinking behind the banishing. So feel free to announce what I got there, because I don't actually remember what I ordered.
This is going to be ASMR heaven for whoever's on the other side.
So you're trying to go to sleep right now.
It's time to dream about cloacas.
Yeah. And then the mama bird reps her cloaca.
Oh, God. I feel so sleepy. Ooh. Well, the one I just opened is Self-Love Reed Diffuser Oil with rose, jasmine, and violet dried petals. I mean, honestly, these are super, super...
Yeah, they look great.
They do look great. And I guess this might be I don't know how diffuser things work, but this isn't an oil. This looks like some sort of liquid.
Yeah, you shove the sticks through the top.
Okay, and do you have to heat it?
I don't think so, but it's something I'm going to have to research. Here, why don't you open that while I talk about this one?
Okay.
So this is a candle, and this is quite nice. This is healing, and inside of it has clear quartz and caronite? No, Oh. How would you say Charoite? Charoite?
C-H-A-R...
O-I-T-E. Charoite
Okay.
crystals. It's an all-natural soy candle with herbs and essential oils. And this is for healing, which makes sense given the story I just told about how I feel separated from anything holy and good.
I think I'm about to open a candle. I have to say, whatever this is...
I used to love candles.
Smells fucking good.
Yeah, I was a big candle guy for a while, and I kind of fell off that. So I would not be surprised if I purchased 2 candles, especially if it got me over the whatever number mark it was to get the free item.
Ooh, it is a candle. It kind of has the shape of a Yankee candle. Oh, this isn't their brand, I don't think. This is, it's got rocks in it too. This is a,
oh, you're right. Yeah, this isn't the brand.
chakra natural soy candle with herbs, essential oils, and crystals. But it's not, maybe it's on the bottom.
Yeah, this is by Pure and Natural Botanicals.
This one is by AOR. Anyhow, it smells, God, this smells like, in Ashland, Oregon, where I lived for a long time, there was this super hippie new age store called Soundpiece. This is what that store smelled like.
Oh, smell.
I love the smell. I bought so many of my Kabbalah books there.
This 100% smells
that's
like
100%.
Yeah, that is a hippie store. This smells like the Raven's Wing over in Milwaukee.
It does. Yeah.
It's got that odor. Yeah, this delightful hippie smell.
So what's the name of this shop?
So it's Art of the Root.
Art of the Root.
Yeah, root as in...
Ooh, that sounded good.
As in... Yeah, I kind of forgot there was a mic right there. Sorry, guys. Root as in tree, not as in directionality. Route. Yeah.
Oh, root.
Yeah, I probably should have said 2 O's, but I didn't.
I was like... What's Alex talking about
so
now?
So that
those do look like they're the same. Are they not the same?
No, I guess maybe they outsourced their candle making.
I'm gonna smell this up.
Yeah, this is AOR. That one doesn't smell nearly as good as the one you have. But what's neat, when we say there's crystals in it, when you open it, there's like big chunky crystals like
this one
sticking
smells
out.
like kind of vanilla and lemon, but very cozy.
Lemon.
Okay, well, I also have...
Sorry. Just like to point out, my voice didn't even go that much higher than my normal voice, and that hurt. I don't know how that voice actor does that.
I also have something that came in the mail today. Or it wasn't today. It was a couple days ago. So I really like to cook with soy curls, but which are kind of a soy protein product. And I used to get them in bulk at New Seasons, but New Seasons is fucking expensive. And like,
True.
After we recorded last time, I went to New Seasons to just get like a couple staples, and I had sticker shock from getting like eggs and bread. Yeah. Like I stood and stared at their bread selection for minutes, trying to be like, why is every loaf of bread $6?
6 is actually on the low end.
Yeah. So I got the cheapest bread I could find that was still, the right format. Anyhow, so I was like, you know what makes sense? If when I have soy curls, I go through them pretty regularly. I should just go buy them from the source. So I went on the Butler Foods website and I bought a big box, like a bunch of packages of soy curls, and they threw in some freebies. So, one thing that I was really surprised about, Butler Foods is in Oregon. They're actually in Grand Ronde.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the package got here really quickly. Anyhow, they sent some freebies, and one of the freebies they sent was this Harvest Soy Jerky number 19, original recipe. If it's original recipe, why is it number 19?
Well, maybe they had 18 other products, and this is the original recipe of number 18.
Or number 19.
19, whatever, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like Heinz 57. It's not like they tried 57 times to get it right. They had 56 other varieties.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Anyhow,
That was the least amusing answer I possibly could have come up with.
Yeah, I know.
Just by the way.
That's why I didn't.
Yeah, no, there's nothing there. I literally just posited the most easy fucking guess ever.
You lobbed the worst thing over to the other.
Well, yeah, I could have at least tried, or if I was going to so humorlessly answer, I could have said, yep. Don't know, and just moved on, kept the thing going.
So one of the reasons I'm curious about these is like soy curls themselves are so flavorless, right? Like you basically, soy curls are just basically the flavor of their marinade.
Yeah.
So when you reconstitute them to cook them, you basically just soak them in whatever flavor you want them to have. So I don't know if the Soy Curls brand, if Butler Foods actually makes good tasting stuff. I know that their non-tasting stuff is amazing, but now we are going to try their soy jerky.
All right. I'm there. I'm there for it. There's the one I currently like, a vegan jerky. It's called Primal. And it's the way they like it. I think it's just textured vegetable protein. But when you bite it, they programmed in like fleshy chunks. So like when you bite it, it like kind of tears like muscle fiber.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and it's really like it's very convincing.
Uh-huh. I mean, these things definitely look like they're based on soy curls.
Yeah. I mean, it tastes like soy beef jerky.
It does. It does.
Which, I mean, isn't bad. But it actually does taste a little bit like those primal ones. But the primal ones, because they're so meat-like in their texture, it's a little more pleasing. These are fine. Mm-hmm. I like the flavor, but it's not... It's a little too fake.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say if you're gonna buy fake beef jerky, you could do better, but it's not that bad.
No,
I'll eat these.
It's certainly not bad.
Yeah.
Miles from bad. It's just it's almost like the uncanny valley where it's so close to convincing that the smallest difference is it's like overly magnified. While 10 years ago, fake beef jerky is like, whatever, do your best. Like, this is so close that it's almost like you're judging it harsher, or at least I am, because I'm a judgment machine.
Well, I guess we probably don't want to spend the whole podcast chewing on things. But
no, so let's
if you want more of that, it's there. So that's what came in the mail.
Yeah, we did it. Congratulations on a new segment. That actually probably the amount of dumb shit I order probably will return. Episode 3, Prisoners of Love.
I love this episode.
This episode was great, but I do want to, before we bring up the totality of the episode, something I think people are going to be screaming at us that we bring this up episode.
Why?
They're going to go, Alexx, Erik, how did you miss the most important Adventure Time question? How dare you? And they're going to come to our house with pitchforks and torches. How do you feel about the early episodes, and they only last for, I think, this season, maybe next, of Finn doing the dumb math exclamations? And I think I kind of gave away my opinion right there.
I love them.
Mathematical.
I love the math exclamations. Does he have one in this episode?
Yes, he says mathematical in this one.
Oh, he says that in episode 1 also. It's it's his first. He's like, mathematical.
So
Finn, you're horrible at math.
That's the reason I liked it in episode 1, because it leads to the joke that he's terrible at math.
Yeah,
and then he has to answer a really difficult question, but it turns out what's 2 + 2.
So here's the thing.
Funny setup. There's a thing, but it continuing. It's algebraic.
Yeah, because, if he's going to have a catchphrase, maybe he's a kid. He doesn't know what his catchphrase is going to be. He's got to grow into it, and they're going to be awkward just like your teenage years were awkward. I mean, what was your catchphrase when you were a kid?
I wish I was dead. I was pretty goth back then.
Wow, that's dark. But, that didn't stick out to me a whole lot.
It's fine. It's more of a. It's such a runner in the early episodes.
This is a
I thought
fan service that you're doing.
No, it was one of those things I want to bring up because I don't hate them. It's just I feel like of all the stuff that I was worried going back into starting our show, going back into Adventure Time season 1, is that the stuff I love about the show isn't there yet, but a lot of it is. But the stuff I kind of don't like about it, not actively dislike, but just is that kind of mathematical, the more childlike Finn of the early seasons.
So there's one thing right at the beginning of this episode that I really love. So we talked about this last time when we were sort of introducing the conceit of Adventure Time episode discussions. But one thing that happens most of the time kind of throughout the background of the show, but other times it's more, in your face, is that there are remnants of the pre-apocalyptic world kind of hanging out. And this episode opens with Finn and Jake using an old office chair as a sled.
Yeah.
Skiing, sledding down snow hills and, all this fun. And, when they break it, they don't say anything about the fact that it's an office chair. In fact, maybe they never know. they're immediately like, oh no, our sled broke.
Yeah.
And I kind of loved that because it was an element like that the apocalypse, the mushroom war, like none of that has been hinted at or explained yet. Like that is so far in the future. But this episode introduced a really, really pivotal character. In fact, I guess Finn's arch enemy for most of the series. Well, no. The person who wishes they were Finn's arch enemy and best friend.
Well done.
The Ice King.
Yes, the Ice King, who is far and away, unequivocally, which I didn't say that word right.
Unequivocally?
Better than I did.
Okay.
I don't think we're there yet, but without any kind of equivocation, my favorite character, the Ice King.
Oh, mine too.
So he's great in the early episodes. And I mean, there's no reason to spoil it now, but there's a massive shift in his character towards the end of the show. And he becomes really the driving narrative force. Mm-hmm. And it is beautiful. Like, I mean, and I'm saying that like unironically, it is honestly beautiful. Like I've cheered up at some of his later episodes. It is great. And watching the early ones, he's not so annoying that it ruins anything. He's just like a fun villain early on, and you don't have to, because it's hard to square that later one with the early one if it was so different, but it's not. It still fits within the kind of story arc, the milieu of the character later.
Yeah, the sort of like dorky danger of early Ice King is explained later on. Like, and you even get that sense in this episode, like Ice King is deadly. Like he is a ferociously deadly character, but he's also so desperate for love and affection, and he's completely mad. Like he's crazy as you can get. He's as crazy as soy jerky. I
mean, I think you might want to walk that back a little bit. That's some pretty extreme judgment going on there.
But I just love. I mean, I love the way he develops. We'll talk about him a lot.
That's why I don't want to go too far in the future. Mm-hmm. One of the things, the example of things that kind of come up later in the show, and this is the kind of adulthood that's around the surface, around the corner. So Finn is explaining to Ice King why he's there. He's like, well, a big lava man was in the front yard and he's so hot.
Yeah. And Jake's like,
he's like, no, not like sexy hot, hot. And there's something, because I mean, this is a child saying it, but there's something like that kind of, the adult world still exists, even though this is a very Calvin and Hobbesy, fantastical world.
Yeah.
And that's a funny joke. Without any kind of lead where it's going to lead. Because one of the things that this show deals with very well, is the voice actor who plays Finn is a child. And he grows as the show grows, and they age Finn up as it goes.
They use the same actor the whole time.
Yeah.
Ice King's voice was different than I remembered, so I'm wondering if the voice actor for the Ice King changes.
I think it's Tom Kenny the whole time.
Okay.
That's SpongeBob.
Oh.
Or that guy from Mr. Show with Bob and David.
I've never watched Mr. Show.
Really? Oh, terrific show.
Okay, so there are some other character firsts in this episode that people should watch out for. Slime Princess, Hot Dog Princess...
Cloth Goth Princess, whatever her name is.
Is she Ragdoll Princess?
Ragdoll Princess, yeah.
And then at the very end of the episode, the Cosmic Owl.
And Wildberry Princess.
Wildberry Princess, who gets threatened.
Who gets a whole episode to her.
Yeah, a lot of these princesses are kind of like weird background characters and horrifically strange background. Oh, Ghost Princess.
Yeah, Ghost Princess is there.
They're just horrifically strange background characters who somehow, I don't understand how they become princesses. But
no, it's not very explained, and also why Ice King is a king, because there's princesses run every other realm except for he's a king for some reason.
Yeah, why isn't he
why isn't it Queen Bubblegum?
Right. Good question.
Yeah. One of the jokes, it's not even really a joke, but I do find it so amusing that the people in the cell, Hot Dog Princess could easily just walk between the bars.
They can all just get out.
Ghost Princess is a fucking ghost and could just, she's insubstantial, go through the bars. Like, the Cloth Princess is made of cloth. Slime is made, basically Wildberry Princess. And then later in the show, it's realized she can take those berries off. Yeah. And Lumpy Space Princess, it is completely, it is the kind of, D&D reality. Cause that's another thing we need to talk about as the show goes on is that
these early episodes,
it's what it is a D&D based show. It's a campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's more explicit in some episodes. Like they totally make really overt D&D references some episodes, and other episodes they don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes those are amazing. So when it comes to princesses, I think it's also important to point out that there are different types of princesses. And this becomes more obvious later on, but like Lumpy Space Princess is from a different dimension, and she doesn't have the same nature of princesshood that the other princesses do.
Yeah.
Because, there's a million lumps. They're all in a different dimension. Princess Bubblegum, it turns out, is one of the elemental princesses. And these are the princesses who embody sort of like the core.
Yeah, I think we touched on the kind of four
It's,
things.
Candy, ice, slime, and fire.
Yeah.
So Slime Princess is another one. Wait, Slime Princess is in this episode, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's another one of the elemental princesses. And then Flame Princess we will meet later.
Yeah.
But so that's an important thing to pay attention to. And then I just love that the Cosmic Owl's at the end. Yeah. And I don't know when we see Cosmic Owl next, but much later on in the series, we learn that Cosmic Owl shows up in dreams when dreams are important.
Yes.
Which means that Ice King's dream at the end was important for some reason. Otherwise, the Cosmic Owl wouldn't have been there.
Yes. Correct.
I'm not sure why. I would have to go back and watch the dream again.
Yeah, I'm giving a lot of leeway to mythology in the first season because obviously I think he had some of the stuff planned out, but not all of it.
Right.
So any of that stuff, like ads, whatever, it's cool that they actually had the character there. We don't need to nitpick.
But maybe the depth wasn't there.
Yeah,
yet.
by season 2 or 3, maybe we'll start to be a little more, well, you established this mythology, and now we're in a world where mythology matters kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe...
but the Cosmic Owl does call him a sociopath. That's pretty important.
It is actually... You know what? That's very important. And we learn why that is later on also. Yeah. I wish we knew more about how much of the Ice King story was planned from the beginning. Because...
I would say none.
Yeah.
I can't imagine...
It's hard to say.
You know what we should do? If this show gets popular, let's start the seed now of... If this show gets enough listeners and people start listening, let's see if we can try to get Pendleton Ward on the show.
Or Jesse Moynihan. I would love to talk to Jesse Moynihan.
Well, I think Pendleton Ward would be great because, the kind of concept of the show is we're going to talk about a whole bunch of shit that isn't Adventure Time. Uh-huh. We should have him on the show.
And never talk about Adventure.
Literally never bring the fucking show up. Well, we can introduce him as the creator of Adventure Time, but never ask any questions. So one of the things with another kind of runner in the show is that Finn is good with the ladies a little bit.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Slime Princess, wants all up on Finn in this one.
Until Jake says.
Yeah, he pees himself constantly. Which, by the way, good bro move.
Put me down.
But I love Slime Princess's voice because it's like this sultry, kind of sexy voice.
It doesn't match her at all.
But it's funny because over the course of the show, let's consider this, at least she was attracted to Finn. Mm-hmm. And Finn dates the fire elemental. Uh-huh. He desperately wants to date the candy elemental. Mm-hmm. He's the whole... And then
and the ice elemental is in love with him.
Desperately wants him to be his best friend. Yeah. It's an interesting... Even though it is kind of main character based, it is an interesting kind of thing. It's like one of those... this is going to be the worst analogy ever, but I'm going to say it because it'll embarrass myself, and that's what I'm here for. It's like in True Blood that all the vampires want to fuck Suki because she's part fairy.
I'm going to pretend that I know what you're talking about.
I literally, because there might be somebody out there that likes that. Otherwise, it's going to be people going, man, this guy's a dork. And that's what I'm here for, is embarrassing myself on the altar of podcasts.
So there's an interesting interaction between Finn and Ice King. So one of the recurring things is Ice King is magically powerful. He can fly, he can control ice and snow and all this kind of stuff. But physically, he's frail. We learn later that he's like 1,000-year-old man. He is an ancient creature. And so Finn can usually really easily physically overpower him, which is part of how the princesses escape. And Finn has such an amazingly good heart, which is a very recurring theme and sort of the core of his heroism. But he actually has this line. He's like, I don't know how to help you. You're crazy. I have no way to help you. All we can do is run away from you. You need to talk to somebody who's way smarter than I am, maybe Jake. And Jake's like, no. But it's great because that theme recurs, and it also shows that Finn doesn't think Ice King is evil. Finn thinks Ice King is insane and needs help. It's just really difficult to help him because he's this all-powerful ice wizard, the ice elemental.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And that's I really, really love that kind of line because we'll see that develop in episode 5, actually. That core element of Finn's being is really important.
What's episode 5?
The Enchiridion.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
And another thing that I love when Ice King, because you kind of get the impression that this might be, well, Ice King, Finn, and Jake have met before, right? Like, he knows them. He's like, Finn, Jake, what the hell are you doing? Or
not on screen, but yeah, they know who they are.
Yeah, but when Ice King freezes them and brings Finn and Jake to the cage where he has all the princesses, he drops them in there and he's like, princesses, I brought you a baby and a puppy.
Yeah.
Okay, so who makes the trail mix? So Ice King has trail mix. Mm-hmm. Finn mentions later on that he's got a bag of trail mix in his backpack. The trail mix has yogurt. It has almonds. It looks kind of healthy. It's like actual trail mix. Where does the trail mix come from?
I would let's posit a thing that trail mix, although seems healthy, high in sugar.
Well, it depends on the trail mix.
But I'm going this way only because then it could be created in the Candy Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true because a lot of the candy creatures have grain-based elements or nuts or things like that. Okay, so trail mix probably comes from the Candy Kingdom.
Because at some point, Princess Bubblegum can shoot gummy bears out of her hands.
Right, jelly beans.
Yeah, jelly beans.
Yeah.
So I feel like trail mix being manufactured there. The other thing is there could be just a trail mix factory that's set to automatic that just keeps producing trail mix.
Oh, like the BMOs.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the Mo's.
BMOs and the soda that they get, which I think starts that whole thing, is that the soda machine keeps getting refilled through an automatic process.
Oh, that's right.
So maybe there's a trail mix machine somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Man, that's old trail mix.
Yeah. Whatever. the other thing that's gets established here, and it's not really a big deal, but Ice King being musical.
Yes.
He's got the number one babe drum set, which dumb joke, but I just like, that's fun.
A lot of characters are musical, which I really like. There doesn't seem to be any shame around making music. So people make music frequently and a lot of them are pretty bad at it.
Yeah.
And then I love that, Finn has his flute in his backpack and it's, held together with like tape and stuff.
Yes.
And Jake's like, oh, Finn, we broke your flute and we tried to pick the lock to that sad ogre's heart. And I was like, oh, I want to see that adventure. Also,
we should bring that up though. Finn's flute is actually like a totemic thing throughout the show.
Oh yeah, it recurs.
Yeah.
It's how he charms
It's like Krishna's bow in the Mahabharata. Which I won't prat a lot about that right now, but there's going to be a lot of Mahabharata talk in about season 6.
Uh-huh.
So start reading now.
Oh, I've seen an entire Mahabharata miniseries. I know the story.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean you. I was talking to the audience.
Oh, the audience. Yeah. I wish I knew which one I saw because it turns out that Mahabharata miniseries and ongoing Mahabharata series are very, very common on Indian television. And the one I saw was like, it was either like 6 or 10 episodes long. Did
it look like it was from the 80s?
I don't know. I know that I watched it in 2006.
There was a very famous one. I feel like it was like mid to late 80s.
I watched it in 2006 in Utrecht, which is south of Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, I'm like I don't know what that is. Yeah, I had heard that like a lot of people that's kind of the famous one.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open a beer. Maybe everybody wants to hear that.
Oh yeah, go for it.
They listen to us open everything else.
Sure. I'm just going to open the beer now.
You really want to go to sleep?
There's a lot of bubbles coming up. Bubbles, 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 bubbles. Gotcha. I made Eric snarf, as we called that.
Well, I've got beer everywhere. Yeah. I don't know if we have a segment for this, but I want to talk about an adventure that I'm going to have. Oh, I mean, it's a podcast about adventure
time. There's the segment.
Yeah. All right. So there's a little bit of a backstory. My mom's side of the family is having a family reunion in Minnesota this summer.
You should go to the biggest ball of twine.
I might.
Referenced earlier in this episode.
And I'd already made my hotel reservations, but I hadn't bought like a plane ticket. And so I went to buy plane tickets, and holy shit. They're too expensive.
Yes.
I haven't flown anywhere since I think 2013, 2014. I've taken all the long trips I've taken have been on the train or something else. And so I was looking at the price of plane tickets, and I was like, I can't spend this much. So I decided that I'm getting a Amtrak Rail Pass.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm going to spend, 3 or 4 weeks traveling across the country on the train.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Because you work from a computer, so it's not even like you could do your job on a train.
Yeah, I'll be able to
awesome.
do my job. I also have a book project that I want to work on. I think I've mentioned this before, but the Agrippa series, which I'm very, very close to finishing. I have, I'll have like 50, 60,000 words of script that I can maybe turn into a book.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to work on that. And and aside from that, I've got friends to visit, and I'll probably stay in some hotels, some places. But my idea right now is I'll go to Minneapolis. I'll go to Chicago. I'm going to go to Massachusetts and visit some friends there. I think I'm going to go to Washington, D.C., which might be the place that I spend the most money because that's kind of spendy.
Yeah.
And then I think on the way back, I think I'm going to go either to Denver or maybe like a little town in the Rockies that the train stops at. Then I'm going to go to Sacramento. I've got some friends there to visit. And then I will come back up through Oregon.
Hell yeah. That sounds awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pretty old for spending that many nights sleeping in coach on the train, but I'll be unconscious. It's the people around me who are going to be suffering.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. I am very pro train travel. I would like to do that at some point in my life. However, I work an office job that cannot be telecommuted. So I'm very limited by I get 3 weeks of vacation a year. So if I took it all at once, I suppose I could do a bit of a train journey, but it's still not long enough, for the full meandering thing I would like to do.
Yeah, I think, we'll probably record some episodes while I'm remote on the train.
Yeah.
Or, in between train legs.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, so I'll be able to give you guys updates, although they probably won't be published real time, so...
whatever. They don't know anything about it. Yeah.
That's true. I'm really excited about it. I'm also kind of terrified. Like, I guess I haven't taken any solo trips in a while. The last big one I did was a train trip to Chicago that was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. It was before I ever podcasted, which was 5 years ago. So it must have been like 6 years ago. And it feels funny to kind of be doing that again because, I don't know. It's an adventure.
Yeah, no, it's it's a strange time of the world. I mean, this is your first post-pandemic, or the pandemic's still happening, but since the onset of the pandemic, traveling around, that's a whole thing.
It's true. Yeah. So I'm excited about a lot of stuff. It took me like a week to talk myself into this. I saw the plane ticket prices. The Amtrak Rail Pass is $500, which is like over $100 cheaper than I could get a one trip to Minneapolis for. So I was kind of like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I started thinking about it and planning and freaking out. And I talked to some friends about it and let them talk me into it. And everybody I've talked to has been like, oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, it does. That's great.
And then today it's Father's Day. So I called my dad and I told him like, hey, would you guys be able to pick me up at the airport and drive me the rest of the way to the family reunion, or not the airport, the train station? And he's like, yeah, why? And I told him, and he's like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. So even, I even have parental support.
Well, trains are universally beloved. It's great. It sounds romantic. I want in.
Yeah. And I think everybody in my life knows how much I love trains. So that probably influences their reaction too. So then this is something, oddly enough, I've had this sort of like pipe dream in my head for a long time of finishing a book and then using the train to go on a book tour.
That'd be cool.
But unlike you, I have never finished writing a book.
Sure. I applied for the Amtrak Writer in Residence program a bunch of years ago. That basically they just let you live on the train for, I think it's 3 months as long as you're working on a book. And you get like a sleeper cabin, and the details are fuzzy at this point. This was probably, this may have been close to a decade ago at this point. I played. I at some point in my life maybe I should try to do that again. But I love the idea of just sitting on a train and writing. I mean, once you get used to it, it sounds brilliant.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've done on pretty much every long distance train trip I've been on. I've taken along something that I'm working on, something that I'm writing. But everything that I've had published in actual paper form has been articles, probably.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest was maybe 5,000 words. So,
well,
those
are
much easier to write.
Yeah. Okay. So here's something that we should talk about.
Okay.
Erik. I, in my past, and I hope in my future, am a tarot reader. I started when I was 16-ish.
Back in the 80s.
No, late 90s. I mean, late 2008. Shit, I forgot I was supposed to lie about being younger on the show. Read a lot. I would say for a while was a professional tarot reader, got money for it. To the point that I almost considered doing it full time, but didn't. Tarot, big part of my life.
Yeah.
Big part of your life.
Big part of my life.
We want to introduce some of that onto the show.
Yeah.
And with that, Erik has brought with him a new tarot deck.
It's a new tarot deck.
Yep.
I'll talk about this a little bit. It's the Tarot of the Greek Magical Papyri, which was created by Jason Augustus Newcomb. Newcomb, not Newcomb like Duke Nukem.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, if it says like "I'm gonna kill you, bitch," or
it's
strip for me,
Newcomb like. Newcomb, like he's an old English family.
Yeah. Like the kind of fancy schmancy English name. Newcomb.
Yeah, it's a fancy schmancy English name. So anyhow, Newcomb is a well-known, or like he's been around the ceremonial magic community for a very, very, very long time. He's taught lots of online classes, and so he's been around for a while. And this was something that I funded on I think Indiegogo or Kickstarter, one of those two. And it finally came in the mail. I've never given a reading with this deck. Partially because it has 100 and something cards.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So
it's not a tarot deck then.
It is tarot with additional stuff. So it's pulled out of the Greek Magical Papyri. Lots of spells, little amulet illustrations and things like that. And then the major arcana are all based on deities that are mentioned in the Greek Magical Papyri.
Okay.
But as he was designing it, he's like, you know what? There's so many cool deities. I'm going to add 20 more. So there's like the normal 4 suits, ace through 10, 4 face cards sort of stuff going on. But in addition to that, there are like 20 extra major arcana that are based on other deities. So he kind of has...
So in addition to a deck of cards as
52 cards.
52, and then they added 22 for the standard tarot deck to make 74. And then these added...
Or there's 76, I think. 70. I feel like there's 78 in a normal tarot deck.
Yeah, I was just thinking that sounded wrong.
Yeah. And then this added...
Oh, yeah, just the math wrong. Yeah, 78.
I feel like... So there's right around 100 cards. I don't know exactly how many cards
I was just trying to do the math in my head that if it's 20 more divided by 4 suits, there's 5... Yeah.
So I'd leafed through it a few times. I haven't actually done a reading with this. I've leafed through it a few times, and I hadn't even shuffled it or changed the order at all. And the other day, I was showing it to a friend of mine, and they mixed it up a little bit. So it has never really been fully shuffled. And I don't know if I can. I honestly do not think I can shuffle this whole thing.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of cards. If you can't do it, let me give it a try, because that's interesting to me.
Well, I'm gonna try first. I'm gonna shuffle it in a round robin style. Meanwhile, why don't you think of a question?
That's the sound of Erik. He's putting the cards together.
You want to go to sleep?
He's breaking the cards in half. I'm over here now.
I can't actually hear the shuffling in my monitors, so maybe it's not working. Maybe it's on the right side of the microphone.
Yeah, I don't know. Erik is shuffling thing. Okay, I'm gonna think of a question. Is this like birthday rules with you? I don't say the question out loud, or do I tell you?
Wait, birthday rules?
You know, like you wishes? Don't say. Yeah, you don't say what your wishes are.
I feel like you should. If you want to, you should share the question with the audience.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, well, I'm going to come up with a question
because we might not. Who knows? I've never tried reading with this deck. Maybe it's impossible.
Okay, I think I've got a question in mind.
Okay. And you're not going to say it out loud.
No, do you want me to say it out loud now? I don't know what your rules
Well,
are.
you can say it. I'm still shuffling.
Well, some people have a thing where you say the question either before you start shuffling, after you shuffle. Like, there's
I really like to play it fast and loose. With
Okay, yeah,
Carol.
yeah.
Let's just go for whatever pleases the audience.
So I'm
most.
going to go with, because I'm staring at all this Art of the Root stuff I bought. So my question is, what else should I be trying to get back in touch with my magical side?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Which feels like very appropriate to the
to
the magical papyri things.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of.
Yeah, you know the thing in Tower, there's something called a jumper, where a card will jump out.
That was all of them.
Whether or not, yeah, Eric just had the opening of Emma Chamberlain's The Happening Jumper, where there was just dozens of people throwing themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of cards here.
I think I only let one jump. Oh, do you want to know what it is, though?
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it is it a card I've never heard of?
No.
Okay. Wait, no, meaning I've heard of it?
You said, is it a card I've ever heard of? No, it's not a card you've ever heard of.
I said it's a card I've never heard of, so saying no would mean it's
yes,
a card
it's a card you've never heard of.
Okay, good. So I'm going to say it is the goat amulet card.
It is not. It is the card of a Gothodaimon, which means the good spirit. I actually have a...
Wait. A goat, a diamond? I just said a goat? Oh, look at Alex being psychic.
Okay, I think that's the only one I didn't pick up, but you might find...
Now imagine a crazy other universe, just for the hell of it.
Okay.
Wherein somehow I actually guessed that. What would we even do? Like, as broadcasters and as people that I've not read the Greek Magical Papyri.
You know, I suspect that there's a chance that you've, I'm not going to say that it's likely, but there's a slim chance that you've listened to me when I've talked about a Gothodaimon before.
Okay.
Because
it's possible.
It's possible. Unlikely, but possible.
Yeah, Gothodaimon doesn't sound fair. To be fair, I did actually take a swing at the Greek Magical Papyri years upon years ago, and it just...
Yeah,
it was just, it's not. I wanted to just read it, and that's not what they're there for.
I do love the Greek Magical Papyri a lot. They are very key in my personal practice. I have no idea if this is an effective shuffling method at all. I'm just sort of mixing, switching, and shuffling little mini piles
while you're
of
shuffling
cards.
I'll tell you something about shuffling that maybe the audience doesn't know.
Okay.
Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, they call that Shriek 52. So Shriek 52 means like basically to the 52nd whatever. So it's a division of 52. So Shriek 52. So every time you shuffle a deck of cards, it is the first time that deck of cards has ever been in that order in the history of the universe.
Yeah.
That is how randomized 52 cards can become.
Well, except the very first time.
Well, yeah, I think it's supposed to be, well, for poker. Mm-hmm. The thing is that 7 shuffles and riffles equals a truly randomized deck.
Yeah. So who knows how randomized this is? It's mixed up a little bit. Like I said, I've never tried to read with the deck before, so who knows how it's going to go. So we have the jumper. And here's the other thing. I don't know which card corresponds to which major arcana, so I'm just going to be reading these based on my knowledge of weird mixed pantheon of Ptolemaic Egyptian Greek deities that are used in the cards.
Yeah, perfect.
So we'll start with the Gothodaimon, our jumper card. Here, take a look.
Okay. Gothodaimon has got the head of a lion, the body of a serpent.
And there's like a shining sun behind him and some Greek letters that probably spell out one of his secret names up there.
Yes.
Can you read them? I don't know if you know Greek.
I mean, what looks to me is XNOYBIC, which I know those are
Chnutis, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, Chnutis or something of that nature is one of the secret names of Gothodaimon. Yeah.
Yes, and it's got cool little inscriptions, and there's not much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably more to it, but I mean, just casual looking. That's what it looks like.
Oh, Chnubis.
That's Egyptian. Yeah, that's Anubis. But it's the wrong guy though.
I think
it says a jackal.
It starts with a sound. I think it's I honestly don't know. I don't know. I could probably look in the book and find out.
That's fine. Whatever.
But Agathos Daimon is the good spirit, and he represents sort of a hypercosmic, creative element that is responsible for the goodness of creation, the goodness in creation. And he's really important in the lunar rotation of deities and amongst my favorite deities. So it's a good jumper. It's a good sign, right?
Welcome.
So I would say that the first thing that this would talk about, like since we're talking about you getting back in touch with your spiritual side and that sort of thing, this might have to do with observing the goodness and beauty of the world around you. Might be very important. So I don't know, do some frisbee golf?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, disc golf.
It's fine. You're an outsider. You're allowed to see frisbee golf.
I don't want the Frisbee Corporation to sue us.
That's literally the reason it's called disc golf, is that the frisbee is a registered trademark. So the guy, Steady Ed Hedrick, the guy that started it all, called it frisbee golf until he realized he'd get sued, and thus disc golf was formed.
Okay, so that's our jumper card. Okay. We're going to use that as a bonus. So this is going to be the card that embodies the situation that you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, so you're going to do a 3-card poll. What is your 3-card poll? What
I do is I do the first station, which will be in the middle, will be the situation.
Okay.
The second card will be things about the situation to avoid.
Okay.
And the last card will be things about the situation that you should be pursuing.
Great.
Okay.
Some people do past, present, future. There's all these different variants of.
I know,
no, I like this one better because it's a little more.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
The situation card. Oh God. Oh. Okay. So here's something interesting in some of the cards. So I'll show you this one. Do not know what it. Okay, it's a vessels. I believe this might be the 3 of vessels, the equivalent of the 3 of cups. One problem with these cards is it does take a little bit of getting used to. So each one of the minor arcana, the top is an amulet from the PGM. Then it has sort of a middle piece that kind of looks like paintings on like a Greek vase.
Just one quick thing. PGM is a Greek magical papyri.
Yeah, we say PGM because we use the Latin.
It fucks me up every time I hear it. Then I'm like, no, it's just in the wrong order, just for the audience at home.
The thing that's stupid about it is, the Greek Magical Papyri doesn't have anything in Latin. It's all Greek and Demotic.
Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah. And then sometimes down below, they have quotes. I believe they're Homeric. This one's from the Iliad. And the quote says, "What's wrong with you that you took this wrath into your heart?" So it's the 3 of Cups. Here, take a look at this card too. They're all pretty unusual. So,
what's wrong with you that you took this wrath into your heart?
Yeah, and so what we're talking about is you getting over, or you moving past a time where you seem to have lost your spiritual connection, which I think this card is sort of indicating that you must have taken something in or accepted something that helped kind of block it or sever it or diminish it. It's tough to know how to talk about this stuff. I know that you deal with depression, and that can be rough. I'm not totally certain that I know what that experience is like for you, or all I know is that you're very honest about it, and it's very refreshing to talk to you about it because you're always so honest. But it could be something related to a thing that you allowed into your heart just because of, mental health struggles or something of that nature. And this card could be saying that that you might have closed yourself off, or anyhow, it's just the situation card. So we're going to get to some more. Okay. Now, the what to avoid card. 2 of Wands. Also the Iliad. Stood holding a scepter with which Hephaestus produced by his labors.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, you do understand how significant that would be for me.
No.
Hephaestus is one of the lead characters in Periphery. The book was one of the last things I did while I was still a spiritual person.
That's interesting. Okay, so that's interesting because this could be, so this is the what to avoid card, and that reference to Hephaestus could be about clinging on to things in the past that helped might not be the way to go. Maybe you need to be looking for something new. So the 3rd card will hopefully point a direction there. Helios. The Titan of the Sun.
Yeah.
This
drives the sun around.
So this is one of the major arcana. I'm sure it probably corresponds with the Sun card.
Yeah.
Which is sort of about joy and happiness. But I'm going to go a little bit further here, because one of the things that's fascinating about this particular card in what to pursue is that Helios is very closely associated with Agathodaimon. In fact, most of the hymns to Agathodaimon reference Helios really strongly.
Well, makes sense with the halo around the Agathodaimon.
Yeah. So these are basically kind of the same. In a way, they are the same card.
Ah.
I would say that there is something in here. Like, if I were you, I would not worry. I would not worry about this idea of wrath in your heart, right? Like, maybe there was something that you let in. I would say that that looking towards things in the past that may have worked momentarily but didn't have lasting positive influence won't be the way to go. Instead, looking towards a sense of kind of like embracing and seeking out the goodness of the world. Helios would be really indicative of kind of like sources of divine light. So physical light and divine light are sort of like tied closely together. So this might be about like getting outside more, or finding spiritual practices that you can pursue outside under the sunlight. Maybe even a spiritual practice that acknowledges the sun or the light of the sun, such as like, the Liber Resh stuff from Crowley or something like that. So that would be kind of like again, this is the first time I've ever read this deck.
No, the fact you pulled a Hephaestus card.
Yeah.
That's pretty, well, I don't know. That's something.
I'm really kind of blown away by the jumper being Agathodaimon and then also pulling Helios, because they are so closely tied together. Like, most of the hymns or the spells that reference Agathodaimon are Helios spells.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I feel like it worked. I think maybe one of the things you might want to look at is some sort of practice that you can do outside that might be spiritual for you, even if it's, I don't know what that could be.
Yeah, no,
Gardening.
I like it. Look outside for it.
Look outside. Yeah.
I would leave those out.
Okay.
Just because I think we should probably take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Because we need to be better with show notes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, by we, I mean me, because I'm the one that's going to be doing them. But let's document.
Okay.
Because I'll take pictures of my unwrapped stuff too.
All right. Hold on. I'll try to take a... Okay, yeah, we'll take a picture.
Yeah. So, I think this was a good episode.
I really enjoyed this.
We talked about weird spiritual stuff.
We did, and I think that I really liked the "What Came in the Mail" segment. I thought that was a blast.
Oh, wait, I'm going to give you one word, just because hey, look at the shiny
this
rock.
This is our third word.
Yeah. Well, I didn't give any words other than
werewolf. You had werewolf.
Yeah, but that just came up in conversation. This is
no. You totally introduced that as the segment word.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I just meant that was funny. But I'm just going to give one word that I like right now. Riparian. Riparian? Do you know what riparian
means? I don't think I do.
Riparian is related to being on the river. Like, riparian interest would be like somebody, fishing on the side of the river. Like
okay.
Riparian.
I like
that
word.
But if you like feel the word riparian, it feels like a river. It's got a river vibe to it.
Riparian.
Riparian.
Yeah.
So that's it.
All right.
There's your word of the thing.
Okay, so now are we doing the closing then?
Let's do the closing.
Okay.
Let's do the closing vespers.
Ladies, gentlemen, lumps, slime molds, animals, creatures, and other unspecified entities that are listening.
May I throw in gentle them?
Gentle them. Gentle them.
Yeah. Ladies, gentlemen, and gentle them is one of the things that's been posited. I'm like, I like that. I think that includes just about everybody.
Yeah. Ladies, gentlemen, gentle them, and unspecified creatures.
And cosmic
entities and cosmic owls.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this. This has been another shining beacon of joy and light in the podcastosphere. We are coming to you from deep within the bowels of Prismo's cosmic recording caverns in else space, beyond the reach of the Lich, and are overjoyed to have you listening. Join us next time when we explore episodes 3 and 4 of Season 1 of Adventure Time, which introduce one of the most beloved of Adventure Time characters, who really loves apple pie.
Exactly, that worm that lives in Jake's viola. You can find us on Twitter at Wiz Biz Podcast, and Instagram, Wiz Biz Podcast.
Yeah, Wiz Biz Podcast. Yes.
And we're probably available elsewhere if you need us. We have a Gmail. Maybe we'll give that out at some point.
Maybe we're on every available podcasting platform, and we are eager to hear your feedback. So please tweet at us or whatever.
Yeah, and as this is our second posted episode, which I believe might come out at the same time as the first one, all those things are exponentially more important to a young podcast. So rate, review, subscribe, retweet, all the things that you hear about.
Share with your friends. Like if you've got Adventure Time friends who also like weird stuff, please tell them about us.
Yes, this would be the time we can push, and maybe we can get popular enough that I'll join Erik on his train trip. That probably has already happened by the time you hear this. All right, see ya.
All right, bye.
Goodbye, Gunter.